Turf today. Get up and brush off the dew on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Cut it and roll that dew on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Set up, they about to come through on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Get up. Turf today. Get up. Turf today. Let's get out the way. Here comes first play. Let's maintain that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another awesome episode of Turf Today, presented by Toro and recorded on the Superintendent Network. My name is Adam Kershane, pumped for this one. We got one of our boys on the show this week, always joined by Brian Laurent, my co-host, can't forget him. But we have Brian Chalifoux, who is the Golf Course Superintendent at the Fort Wayne Country Club. And we've had some fun with Brian on and off the course before. We can't wait to get into things with him. But before we do, like always, let's check in with Mr. Laurent down in Ohio. Oh my God.
What's up?
What a set of overalls. Holy smokes. Oh,
How you feeling?
it hasn't been easy, that's for sure. A couple days of people going to work and not really doing much work, you know. For people that can't see us right now, Brian just came onto the call and he has a full American flag behind him. He's got the American overalls on, and it looks like a red Toro hat that goes really well with the outfit.
We'll go with that. Briggs Ranch, close
Briggs
enough.
Ranch, okay, there you go.
Yeah,
A little bit of a bigger
the
bullhead.
overalls.
Yeah, it was a tough one, man. I feel like Canada probably could have won that game, maybe a 7-game series. We do take it, but that's hockey. And I said so many times to people, like, this is going to come down to the goaltending. You're going to be praising Hellebuck or Binnington either way. And sure enough, there we go. Are you drinking a beer too?
No, I wish. Diet Coke.
It was a Coors Light. I was like, this guy.
No.
Oh, man.
I should have had a PBR or something ready to roll.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was fun. And this episode's coming out, a couple weeks after we record this. But yeah, we're fresh off the gold medal game. Congrats to the Americans. Very well deserved. I think it's great for the game of hockey. A lot of those guys that played on that team don't remember the when they won it in the 80s. So it's
Yeah, I was gonna say most of them weren't alive.
Most of them weren't alive. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good point. Probably all of those players.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was gonna say that was the year I was born. So like those guys could be my kids. So
yeah, they just remember the stories and obviously the movie, the Miracle on Ice movie, so good. But yeah, no, it was a good one. Jack Hughes, the winner with the broken tooth. That picture of him, he's got the gold medal in his mouth with the broken tooth and the blood and everything. It's incredible.
Just iconic.
Yeah, one of the greatest sports photos ever. So
yeah,
it was good. I felt so bad for Connor McDavid though. Like he loses his Stanley Cup 2 years in a row, and then he's got to stand there and get a stuffed animal and a silver medal.
Yeah,
tough one.
yeah. No, I mean, like you said, though, so good for the game of hockey, right? I mean, for the sport. The last year with the Four Nations Cup, just an epic game, and then wondering how they were going to top that, and just had another barn burner here in the Olympics with everything on the line. It was unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
One of the greatest hockey games I've ever watched, too. Like, just start to finish, all the plays, everything that happened, some of the saves, man. Was good. And then overtime, everyone's arguing maybe overtime shouldn't be 3-on-3, but that's how they set the tournament up. That was the rules. Everybody played the same way, so.
Yeah, it was unreal. I was at my son's hockey game. So, we had 50 parents all sitting around watching the same thing on their phone, and some are delayed and some not, so it's like, you just hear this, yes. And then kind of goes all around. It was nuts, but yeah, no, that was cool. Even like the I don't know who the announcer was, but he was down on the ice. He's like, this is the fastest game I've ever seen. These guys are fresh, they're pumped. It's just a speed unlike he's ever seen before. And that's so cool. But yeah, no, man, that was fun. I should have taken you up on the bet.
Yes, you should have. We talked
I
about a
should
few
have.
different things for a bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe next Olympics, or maybe we can do something when the I was gonna say when the Summer Olympics come out, but I don't know how our Canadians are gonna fare in the Summer Olympics against the American golfers.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna
That's
say
not a good one.
basketball. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, we had curling. We won the curling
Oh,
after a
that's
couple
right.
controversies. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I look forward to the summer games too, because I think the Winter Olympics this year, after a few different kind of Olympics and COVID and all that kind of stuff, there was a lot of people that were very excited about it this time around. So it'd be cool to see all the different events and obviously the golf and the Summer Olympics, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be in LA. Golf being held at Riviera.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Home soil. Canadians are
Home
screwed.
soil. Yeah. We also have the President's Cup this year to look forward
True.
to.
That's right. That's also another
President's Cup at Medina.
big event.
Yep.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the PGA stuff this morning. They're down in Palm Beach Gardens. We're up here dealing with the fucking snow. Those guys are down there.
It's probably beautiful down there. So
Turf Today is brought to you by the Toro Company and their complete lineup of irrigation solutions built for golf course superintendents. With systems like the Toro Link Central Control System, Toro gives you the ability to dial in water exactly where you need it, whether you're managing greens, fairways, or rough. From real-time monitoring to quick adjustments during changing weather, Lynx helps you stay ahead of the conditions and keeps surfaces consistent for golfers. At the end of the day, it's about healthier turf, smarter water use, and more control from your office or your phone. To learn more about Toro Irrigation Solutions, visit toro.com or talk with your local Toro distributor. Toro. Count on it.
yeah, those pictures were rough, man. Looks like you guys are pretty deep up there, huh?
It just keeps coming. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Every day I go in and thinking, okay, maybe we'll have a little bit of a melt or something. You wake up and it's just more snow. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But we did hear, because it is getting to be late in the season, that some guys are talking about blowing their greens off. So you're
Yeah.
trying to expose the ice or the tarps or whatever's kind of there. But it's such a touch and go subject. Do you
Yeah.
keep them covered or you not keep them covered? So it's a bit of a gamble this time of year, but guys are doing their best. And
Yeah. Well, and it all depends on what's under that snow, right? I mean, if it's just a nice healthy pack of snow, it's fine to keep on, right? But though
Mhm.
if it's ice down there, that's when the issues happen. So
yeah.
hopefully you guys just have a nice solid powder there with no issues down at the bottom.
From everything I've seen on our course, it's been smooth sailing. Been doing lots of blowing and stuff out there, and it's all
Yeah.
down to turf. So, and
Yeah.
a few greens that I've dug up, there's been kind of a nice little crust. So I think we just had a good blanket early in the season, and it's kind of held itself. But like we keep talking about every episode, it seems like now it's different at every course, every property, even down the road where they get a lot more wind. They could have ice. So
Yeah.
yeah, just hoping for the best. But last year it was such a nice spring. Like we were just out there. There was no ice. You're ready to go right away. So I don't know if we're going to have a spring like that. It seems like things are going to be a little bit colder.
It's been a brutal winter. I know the guys out on the East Coast just got smoked by that blizzard that went through. Talking to a couple guys in like
Yeah.
Jersey, got 18 inches. I don't know what they got up north, further north, but yeah, it seemed like it was pretty rough.
Yeah, no, there were some wild pictures of people just opening their doors, being like, "What is happening here?"
Yeah, yeah. It's been a bad winter. So hopefully the springtime makes up for it. Hopefully we get a nice little spring here in just a couple weeks. We're less than a month away from the official start of spring. So
Yeah, exactly.
hopefully we come out clean and get off to a good start.
Here he is.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Brian? How are you?
Hey, man, my backdrop is seriously lacking here.
I know. You should have planned this. You're a hockey guy too. Come on.
Technical difficulties in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jeez, this game is weak. Although the 2015 Lenovo didn't do it for me, so here we are on my iPhone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When in
That's
doubt,
fine. It's
trust the
been a
Apple
few
product.
years.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Good looking stuff, guys. Very cool. Thanks for having me.
No, of course. Appreciate you jumping on. So you're fresh off a couple weeks on the road, right? I mean, we had Orlando and Vegas and just kind of living the life, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the industry trip there to Orlando was a heck of a good time. Get to see a bunch of people that you only see once a year and check out all sorts of different things. So from the education side all the way to the product side, that was refreshing. And like I said, a lot of those relationships that there are people you keep in touch with, but you only see them once a year. So it's always a neat opportunity, and you always end up running into a few folks that you weren't planning on as well. So good stuff.
Yeah, it was a wonderful time this year. It was great to see a lot of different people. We're very fortunate to have you on the show. I know Brian and I have talked a few times about bringing you on, and it was great to see you down in Florida. So we're happy to get to chat and tell your story today. So take us back to the start. Tell us kind of about yourself and about your upbringing and getting into the turf industry.
I grew up on a golf course, right? So my dad's a retired golf course superintendent. He's from the East Coast originally. So mom and dad both from Western Massachusetts, small town in the Berkshires there in Western Mass. But the golf journey for me kind of began on accident. I grew up coming out here as a young man with my dad. It was the place I always wanted to be, riding around with him, looking at what the team was doing, what was going on, and just being outside and getting to see all the different things. At that period of time, the club was doing a lot of construction, a lot of change when he first got here in 1988. So what 3-year-old doesn't love bulldozers and wheel loaders for sure. But how we landed in Fort Wayne, I guess, is the beginning of the story. So my dad was an assistant for Dick Bader at Berkshire Hills Country Club in the 70s. Worked for Dick, went to the Stockbridge School of Agriculture at UMass and got his degree in turf and associates in turf. Followed Dick to Rochester and was an assistant for him for the 1980 PGA Championship. From there, my dad went to South Bend Country Club as the golf course superintendent, then on to Olympia Fields before he landed in Fort Wayne in 1988. So that's kind of where we're going. I joined the party when we were in Chicago, so 1985, and just always loved it. I always enjoyed it. I enjoyed going around with my dad and just and seeing everything that was going on. So my journey here professionally, I started at the club as a caddy in 1988. Always wanted to work for my dad's team, but because of the hours and the equipment and things like that, that's not permitted until you're 16 with the Indiana labor laws. So officially joined his team in 2001 as a high school laborer and stayed in that position for several years. I originally went to Indiana my first year of college, general studies. At that super intelligent age of 18, I kind of wanted to buck the system and not do what seemed like the obvious path. So went to Indiana for a year. Lived the college life and kind of not sure where I wanted to land, and decided that summer I was going to transfer to Purdue and pursue a turf degree. So that's where I ended up in the fall of 2004. Graduated from Purdue in 2008 with a turf science degree, and then came back to the club here as kind of an assistant in training in 2008. Was in that role for 1 year, then a second assistant 9 and 10, senior assistant from 11 to 18, and then had the opportunity to interview with the board of directors in 2018 for the golf course superintendent position. So my goal was always to stick around and hope I got the shot to get in front of people, right? So you can't control from the outside anything that happens once you get to the interview. Your whole years of service and goal is to get to the interview, and after that it's up to you. So fortunately things went well with that, and I started in my current position November 1st of 2018.
So you didn't think originally you wanted to be a superintendent. Why didn't you originally pursue that path? Was there something where you saw, just obviously being around your dad, like, this may not be for me, or what were you thinking?
No, and the funny part with that, Brian, is when you look back, it wasn't the hours or the grind or the holidays or the weekend that deterred me. That was purely a function of being 17, 18-year-old punk kid that knew it all, and thought that just seemed like the obvious choice. So just I think I wanted to almost go against the grain a little bit at that point. Because like I said, growing up on the course, I loved being out here. I absolutely loved it. That's what I wanted to do. Like I said, I started caddying here as soon as I was old enough to carry a bag. So I think just at that point in time, it was a young kid making decisions, maybe not thinking of the best long-term outlook there for sure. So fortunately, clearer heads prevailed.
Nice.
Did you kind of think maybe I've got it in my back pocket? I'll go check something else out first, or just
I
flat out
didn't.
no clue?
No, I didn't
Yeah.
actually. And looking back, you might have thought of that. I'm glad I didn't because I feel like I would have taken way too much of a casual approach to it if I
Yeah.
felt that was a fallback. Because nothing in this industry, as you both know, is a fallback whatsoever. It's going to take your top effort if you want to be successful whatsoever.
I think it's good that you have that experience though, doing other things and just getting a year to kind of figure that stuff out and have a little bit of life experience, as Brian likes to call it. Tell us a little bit about Purdue. We have talked a little bit about that program on the show, but not you haven't really done too much of a deep dive. So tell us about going there.
Really, really, really strong program. So obviously, it's changed a bit now. It was in the School of Agronomy back when I went to school there quite some time ago. They're now in the School of Horticulture. But top to bottom, I mean, if you talk about when I was there, it was Dr. Riker and Dr. Bigelow. Aaron Patton was a grad student at the time. Jared Nemitz was a grad student at the time. So all people that are very well-known professionals in the industry. But we were fortunate. We had a lot of great people to learn from. I obviously enjoyed my turf classes immensely, but I really excelled in the soil science classes. Those made sense to me. I thought they were really interesting. So that would be going back to Dr. George Van Scoik, John Graville, Bill McPhee, all those folks that were near and dear to us. And we spent a lot of time with them too, right? So when you're pursuing that degree, it's a lot of it is soil science. But no, we fortunate under the turf umbrella at that time to have Zach and Kale, and both still in the industry today. I believe Zach is with Enview now, and Kale is heading up the program there at Purdue. But good stuff. I did a few internships along the way.
That's I was going to ask. Did you get out and about and experience other places besides Fort Wayne?
Yeah, so a couple summers I worked. I worked for the athletic department. I don't know if you remember the Ross-Ade Stadium renovation in 2006, but they were the first ones that far north to try Bermuda. And so I worked for Al Capitos, was the sports turf crew chief at that time. Brian Bornino is now in that position. He was a classmate of mine as well. But I worked with that team that summer and got to kind of see, not that I know much in the sports turf world at all, and I won't pretend to, but it was neat to see that it was big news, putting Bermuda grass in Northern Indiana in
Oh yeah.
2006. So that was cool stuff to be a part of. And 2007, I worked with John Jennings' team at Chicago Golf Club. So absolutely phenomenal place, super cool memories from that, and still keep in touch with John to this day.
Are you then prepping to head out to the U.S. Open then this year? You're going to lend a hand?
Yes. Yes. So,
Nice.
oddly enough, the reason I decided I wanted to do an internship with John at Chicago Golf, I volunteered for the '05 Walker Cup, which was really cool. First time I'd ever seen championship golf. You know, I only knew the way that we did things here, and we do a lot of the same things here that they do at that level. But it was neat to see, the USGA setup teams, John's morning meetings, the tents, the whole deal, the people that you meet from everywhere. I remember I met some individuals from St. Andrews there and was a little bit starstruck by that because I'd just never met people from those clubs before. So it was really, really cool deal. When I worked with John in '07, Michael Hustis was the senior assistant. Brian Maish was the second assistant. And I was just fortunate that those two really welcomed me and taught me how to be successful there as far as being part of the program, the way that John ran things, which is very professionally, and just how to really fit into that operation for the time that I was there.
What'd they have you doing your first tournament? Any good memories?
No, so actually, a little bit of a horror story there. Now that you jog the memory, but so anytime you volunteer for a tournament, you do an evaluation, right? And you say what you're good at and what you're not so good at, and maybe what you're not sure about. At that time, I was a pretty confident walk mower, right? So here at the club, we walk mow greens, tees, collars, and approaches. Our approaches are huge; they're a couple acres. Tees got a couple acres worth of tees, so I was confident in that. And so my job assignment at the Walker Cup, the first day only, mind you, was to walk mow the range tee with a 26-inch Toro Greensmaster 1600. I mean, the lines, Adam. Oh boy. We're talking 16-year-old first day type stuff here,
Oh,
right?
boy.
Oh,
And I remember it was either John or Aaron Willing was a senior assistant back then, stopped by, and I just was looking for a place to hide. But I did my best. Got a new assignment the next day. So I think I was moving turning boards for a greens mower that second day.
did you at least get the placement right on the turning boards?
I did.
Yeah,
Fortunately.
that's good. That's good.
Yep. But no, hell of a team there, obviously. And then I did have a neat job. I went out to work the 2018 Open with John, and I got to do backside cleanup passes. So that was pretty cool.
Is that something you really enjoy doing, some of the championship type stuff?
I think it's neat, and I'm fortunate that my dad kind of encouraged those opportunities when I worked for him. Not only, at that time you're looking for resume stuff too, right? So it's a volunteerism thing, but it's also helping you build your brand by things that you've seen that are a lot bigger than you. So I think it's neat, and I think it's something that everybody should do and see if it's something that their facility supports. Luckily at the club here, they think that that's really cool, having guys go out to work different events. So one of our second assistants this year, Ian's going to go out and work at Muirfield Village.
Nice.
For the memorial tournament. So good stuff. Yeah, I think it's important for everybody to see.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Alex Cosell. How much water is necessary to accurately break down contact DG after application?
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me on the show this week, Adam. And thanks again for another great end user submitted question. And, this is obviously a big one for us, and, why we pride ourselves on our patented DG technology. It really is kind of the highlight or crux of why you would go with the dispersing granule technology. And when you think about kind of coated fertilizers, typically you're often trying to dissolve a coat, or you're trying to kind of move that prill down into the soil where it can do its magic, versus with contact DG, you're really activating that dispersion in some ways, right? And typically we would tell people, I think most of our labels are around 0.2 of an inch of irrigation is sufficient, or, a couple rotations, if you will, of a typical golf rotor head. But again, I mean, I think ideally, run a normal cycle if you have time, or a little bit of a half cycle, right, to get it down into the canopy, but it shouldn't take a lot. Water is cold, right? So anything that's, going to potentially, have warmer water, if you will, that you're applying is going to obviously break down a little bit quicker than if it's super cold water from the irrigation system. But all in all, right around, like I said, that 1/4 inch should easily move that down below the profile and get it working. And again, why we pride ourselves is if it's, put down today and you get it dispersed and into the water, you don't have to worry about that mower, taking it away tomorrow when you're coming out and, doing your normal, greens pickup, or, basket pickup. So again, doesn't take a lot of water, but I'd say right around a 1/4 inch gets you in there, and then gets it distributed even through the root zone. Then you don't have to worry about picking that up later.
So question then from the other side, how much water would you have to get for it to kind of just be a waste of an application?
Yeah, that's a great question, Adam. I mean, I think, again, ideally we don't want to, especially the nitrogen piece, we don't really want to flush it through the soil profile if we can help it. I don't know that you would totally dissolve away, especially since a lot of these are high methylated urea products, right? It takes a little bit more than just water to actually break the microparticles down that are in part of the particles. So I guess ultimately at the end of the day, you probably, if really concern for pickup was your highest priority, I'd say you're probably better going a little over than under. With that said, and again, don't want to get crazy on either end, but if you want to run a little bit extra than you normally would on your cycle, like I said, just to make sure it's watered in, that actually should be fine. You shouldn't really necessarily have to worry about leaching or diluting any of your nutrients that you just put out.
Awesome. Well, this wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. So you've mentioned your dad a couple times, and that's one of our favorite things here on the show is young kids getting to go to the course with their mom or dad. Brian grew up going to the course himself with his family. I bring my son to the course and find it's very, very important. So we'd love for you to talk about, kind of the memories you have growing up with your dad, some of the things you might have learned, and just any good stories you have.
So, one of the earliest on memories, I guess I should preface this with the fact too, we're a golf family all the way around. So my wife, her dad was a golf course superintendent his entire career. So we make the joke that our kids have no chance. But yeah, so Wendy and I are both children of superintendents, right? Which is a somewhat unique thing.
That's gotta be very
And
unique.
then
Yeah.
then we talk about being kids at the shows, running around, and all the different places we got to go because of the industry and our parents. But so it brings it full circle. I always say that my wife's a saint for a lot of reasons, but that's one of them. You guys both know what the industry throws at people. It's been amazing to us and our family, but it's also very demanding. So very, very fortunate for her that she gets the gig. Not always that way with everybody. So I'm fortunate there for sure. Earliest memories back on track at the golf course with my dad. So we have an area, it's kind of a natural decomposition area. The guys call it the dump, but it's not a dump, obviously.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things years ago was we would get like a little D3 in every couple years to push material to the back. We have got like 10 acres back there, so there's plenty of land. But every so often you need to push things around and kind of pile things and uh, just let's say reorganize. So that was one of my favorite things when I was very young was to ride with my dad on the dozer and just kind of push stuff around. And that stuff's really cool when you're 3 years old. So that was the earliest memories. Then of course just riding around in the summers when I was off of school. My mom was the office secretary at the time here at the club, so I spent a lot of time here, and it was really neat. Obviously took an interest in golf then, start getting up into the 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And that became more of a thing. So obviously we had a connection there that was deep. But yeah, it was just always somewhere I wanted to be.
So you worked for a long time with your dad. I
Yeah.
worked with my dad for a while. Talk about the challenges of working alongside family,
So
if there were.
yeah, of course there are, right? So it's the greatest blessing you can have in a way. And then also it can be very, very difficult because your feedback's always candid. There is no politically correct way to um, speak to, and dad was intense. It's funny now because he's retired and he's kind of mellowed out and I think he forgets the fire that he had. And I don't because I came on the other side of it, which I was better off for, I mean,
Yeah.
and again, anytime I got my ass reamed, I earned it. So it's totally fine, but it's funny now to sit and talk with him. I think it's kind of naturally our human nature to perhaps remember the good times more so than the difficult. But that being said, I got the best of it, really did. Worked together for a really long time, got to learn from, I mean, my dad was my best man in my wedding. So best man in our wedding, excuse me.
I love that.
So yeah, although there were difficult times and trials and tribulations and things like that, we got to do some really cool stuff together. God forbid the day, but and I hope it's a long way away, but we'd left no box unchecked. So, I mean, whether it was trips, time here together, working, invitationals together here at the club, which are long days and special days. Um, we did a greens renovation together in 2013. Actually, our senior assistant now that's still here with us, John Graff, and I were both assistants at the time. We seeded these greens. So talk about feeling like they're your kids. But no, very special memories the whole way along with him. There are times when it's tough, right? So right out of school, until I got my own place here in Fort Wayne, I lived with my parents for a little bit. And yeah, when you're 23 and live at home and have had a tough day, it's a little awkward around the dinner table, but you get over that and you learn that the good far outweighs the bad, right? So no, that I wouldn't change that experience for the world.
So now, a little bit later in life, looking back on spending some time with him or lots of time with him, are there some lessons that you've sort of learned now? Maybe you thought you might have learned earlier, but have sort of come into now that you're older?
It's funny because I knew it at the time, but one thing that they older I've always had a knack for talking to older guys. I think that especially meeting older superintendents that have been around for a long time, they have a lot of information that is going to go away once they're done, right? So I have always thought that they are a tremendous resource to talk to. Not that the guys my age aren't either. I mean, we all bring something special to the table, but I always felt like there was a great deal you could learn from that prior generation. And one thing I picked up on when I was a student at Purdue and just talking to people that were more tenured in the industry, um, it seemed inevitable that you know it's time to look for a head job when you start to always think you know more than your boss. So inevitably, I think that happens to us, right? That when you're ready to steer the ship, you start to think that maybe you have a better mousetrap. But it worked out right. My dad was ready to retire at that point anyway, and so I was going to look at the interview process here at Fort Wayne or elsewhere. But yeah, I think that's when when you start to question too often, even though you know better, right? I mean, I knew the skill set that he had, and I had the utmost respect for him, but it was still natural that after being in an assistant role long enough, you think, hey, maybe we could do things this way. So even though I knew that wasn't the right way, I did have those times as well where you question a little bit more. And back to some of the trials and tribulations of working with family, I very self-admittedly probably overstepped my boundaries as far as suggestions. Um, Maybe rather than packaging those as a helpful suggestion, sometimes it might have come across as, hey, we should be doing this in the heat of the battle. So that's one thing I know I did wrong for sure. Worked out okay, but like I said, I think, Brian, what's your experience with that? Would you agree that when guys are in an assistant role long enough, perhaps they start to want to dip their toe in the water themselves?
As far as making
Making calls.
more suggestions, yeah, I think so. And I think, like you said, there's a right and a wrong way to do it. And that's certainly a bit of an art form to be able to bring your ideas to the table. But yeah, and I don't think that's a bad thing either, right? And I think most you in your current role now would probably want your assistants to be approaching you with, hey, this might be another option, right? You want those guys to bring those ideas to the table.
Yeah, for sure. And beautifully said. Proper delivery there is paramount for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So during your time there, you kind of talked about how you would bring those suggestions, like you kind of understood things, you felt comfortable where you were in the operation, all that kind of stuff. Was there a time where you looked at leaving Fort Wayne, or did you kind of have it in your back of your mind, like, all right, I'm going to wait this out. I know Dad's kind of a couple years away. Let's just be patient and stay here and see what happens.
A little of both. I did consider, some other things, and obviously, as you know, there is a plethora of good clubs in the Midwest. So
Oh,
yeah, of course, you think of those things and look at maybe, hey, is there an opportunity for an AIT job or a second assistant job at that point in time where I was at right out of school? Yeah, you get curious, but I'm extremely close with my family. I love Fort Wayne. I love the Fort Wayne Country Club. This is a just super, super unique place, right? 1908 design, William Langford, and just a gorgeous, gorgeous old property. So one of the things I always say is, and new projects are great too, but no matter what sort of resources you have, you can't build age, right? You
yeah.
cannot just throw up a 108-year-old golf course. So I think it's partially because I grew up here, partially because of the investment my family has in the club, but the place has always been near and dear to my heart, super special to me. So I think that kept me around along with my family being here. And like I said, really from the time I decided to go to Purdue and pursue a turf degree, my goal was to get a conversation, right? And what I mean by that is to get a chance to get in front of the hiring committee and say, hey, this is what I've trained for, and this is what I have to offer and why. And it would be an absolute honor to be your next golf course superintendent here at the club.
So you're saying kind of along those lines, like even if earlier in your career you would have gone on and taken another role, you eventually would have wanted to ultimately come back to Fort Wayne, right? And take over and continue that Chalifoux legacy at Fort Wayne.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Because as you know, Brian, this is a special place, and there's a lot of special places, but those things don't exactly pop open all the time. So you kind of have to plan for your opportunity and hope that you can capitalize when you get it.
Yeah. And I think one of my favorite things about Fort Wayne is, obviously it's a golf club. It's, golf is popular at all golf courses, but there it's really important. They love their golf, and they include you in that, right? I mean, you guys used to play pretty much every Friday with members, didn't you?
Yes. So actually, that's one thing. Technically, we're a country club. So at Fort Wayne Country Club, golf is very important here, but they've really focused and done a good job in the last probably 10 years of making it a full family model. So they have everything now. They have the resort style pool. They have a golf academy. The tennis facilities are updated. So yeah, they really did a nice job of making it appealing, not just to dad, but to the entire family. And I think that's why they've done so well with membership. The club is full, which is a great place to be for sure. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention too, I talked about the age of the property and the layout and how special that is. But the people here have always been awesome to us. They've been great to my family for my entire life. So how could you not want to work for that, right? When those are the people that you're reporting to and sitting on committees with, and they treat you as a absolute professional, it's pretty neat. So that's part of what makes the club special as well.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the Midwest culture too, right? I mean, that's like the Indiana culture, the friendliness, the welcoming environment. But again, along the lines, of them embracing you, like I kind of asked, golf is a big part of you and what you do at the club there too. I mean, you make it a regular habit to go and play the golf course. And, is that something that you find helpful in your management of the property?
I do. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there.
No, you're good. You're good.
I always, again, taking my dad's lead, it was his practice to play with a group of members every Friday afternoon. That is invaluable. It is so important for so many reasons. Matter of fact, the membership now currently encourages me to do the same thing. I don't play as much golf as my dad did, and I don't play as much as I would like to, but it really needs to be a priority. And I don't say that in the sense of, a martyr being forced to play. Let's be real. Golf is fun, and I love it too. Something about two little blonde boys and my beautiful bride makes it a little harder than it used to be. But one of the goals that I have for myself this year is to really get back into that Friday afternoon routine, at least try and hit 3 out of 4 Fridays per month. Our team works a short day on Friday because it's one of the busiest days for member play of the week. So the guys and girls will generally wrap up for the day about noon. And 1:00 on a Friday afternoon, yourself and 3 members. I mean, how can that be better? Not only is it enjoyable, we look at the course through the lens of an agronomist every day, right? All day, every day. That's what you do. But even if you know what the speed of the greens is, or that we have the right amount of sand in the bunkers, or that the rough's at 3 inches and it's either hard as hell or kind of baked out because it's summer, there is no better barometer than playing. That is important. I can't imagine being able to have as much of a handle on things if I didn't. Now, that being said, I think I only played here 5 times last year, but even then, you just see things differently. Again, like I said, the lens through the agronomy lens, you might have 15 things on your list. You could have a totally different 15 from the side of the player, from the standpoint of the player. So I think that's important. It's important, and it really helps the connection with the members. A lot of times you can provide them with information they would have never had any idea. And different things come up when you're in that setting. It's much different than a boardroom or a grounds committee meeting. They feel free to ask whatever comes to their mind, and I'm happy to answer it. Sometimes, sometimes they have the right information, sometimes they have the wrong information, but it's a really good way to give them a mainstream to the proper information.
Yeah, that's very, very important. I think more people need to be getting into that. I wanted to ask you about the transition. So you're taking over for your dad. Were there things that you thought were important to change right away, or did you kind of just sort of step in and let the ship sail the way it was?
So it was two ways to look at that. It was a tremendous follow in the sense that people, programs, and practices were all in place, and things had been done at a high level for a long time. So in that sense, it's a great follow, right? Like, man, I walked into a pretty good scenario here. This is pretty cool. It's also hard to follow a legend because
True.
those are damn big footsteps to fill. I probably never will fully fill those footsteps. That's a goal. But yeah, very, very great, very difficult, all in one together. I would say the club kept my dad on as a kind of part-time advisory position for the first couple of years, and that was really helpful. I mean, even from the get-go, I think it was hard for him originally to not still tell the guys, hey, let's do this or this. But it was a transition that we all worked through, and he always did it respectfully anyway. My dad always was very, very respectful to his staff, appreciated the team. It was we, not I, always has been and will continue to be. But yeah, other than some just tendencies that you get when you're in charge for 35 years, it was super smooth. And he let me steer the ship for sure. And he was there when I needed a hand, when I had questions. Yeah, it was neat. They kind of help you when you first get your wings. They help you learn how to fly, right? The people that taught you how to do it and your mentors, and that was really important. Again, part of the special times we've had together out here for sure.
Along those lines, and kind of coming back to something you said earlier, is the relationships and talking to either the older generation or your peers. I know you guys have a very tight knit group in Northeast Indiana. Talk about the importance of maintaining those relationships with your peers and just the ability to talk to guys in the surrounding area about what's going on, or
Priceless.
just to hang out with.
Absolutely priceless. So from the professional standpoint, I'm gonna pick on you here for a minute, but talking to your dad about his time at Saucon and some of the stuff that he saw and things they did and championships hosted, and it's incredible information, and it is a absolute resource for all of us. Talking to the guys again that have done this for a really long time at a really high level, they have seen everything, and there's nothing they haven't done. We ran into a unique disease here at the club last year, which I honestly had never seen before other than textbook pictures in Dr. Lattin's class. And it was bent grass dead spot. So these bent grass greens were 12 years old at the time. It made absolutely no sense. So take the samples, send them off to the labs. We always use 2 or 3 different independent labs, overnight them, and here it comes back as that. But I mean, even then, and luckily we caught things early on. The members didn't even know we had it. We caught it in its infancy, and it kind of looked like ball marks, actually, old ball marks. But the first thing I do in that moment is reach out to 2 or 3 industry friends that I trust immensely, and they were there that day. And I think that's the relationship side of the business, that if you're not networking with other people and sharing time with other people and stories with other people, you're, at least in my opinion, missing the boat. I mean, there was 10 guys I could have called that morning when I didn't know what I was looking at. Because let's be real, again, they have to be people you trust, right? The last thing you want to do is sound the alarm that you're having issues, because information is passed along a lot of different ways, right? So when you have something in its infancy that you want to get control of and get some answers to, you're going to show it to people that you really trust, because you don't need it out there that there's bad information about this, that, or the other thing, or, you know, there's all sorts of different things people talk about. Pythium root dysfunction, Pythium root rot, this, that, the other thing. Bacterial wilt was a big thing 15 years ago. So when you're not sure what it is, you want to go to people you can trust. And we're fortunate to have a whole bunch of them.
Before we go any further, we have to talk about Apex 10 by Green Nature, a powerful soil health solution designed to activate microbial activity where it matters most. Apex 10 feeds beneficial microbes in the soil, improving nutrient availability, root development, and overall plant efficiency. The result is stronger turf, better stress tolerance, and more consistent playing conditions from the ground up. If you believe that great turf starts with healthy soil biology, check out Apex 10 from Green Nature, working below the surface so your turf can thrive above it. This episode of Turf Today is also brought to you by the USGA Green Section, the trusted resource for science-based solutions in golf course management. From agronomy-supported and regional agronomists to cutting-edge research and education, the Green Section helps superintendents make informed decisions that improve playing conditions while protecting the long-term sustainability of the game. Whether it's water management, turf health, or preparing for what's next, the USGA Green Section is committed to helping courses thrive today and into the future. Learn more at usga.org/greensection.
How do you combine the lessons learned from the previous generation with the modern age of turfgrass management?
No, that was one of the things, actually, when I interviewed for the position that I talked about, taking kind of the old school, the OG work ethic and gritty side of just muscling through and getting it done, and then combining some modern type thinking with it too. That is something that I think is really important, and it's something that people my age are probably very good at, because they understand some of the old school tactics, but then you plug in some newer thinking too. So whether it's height of cuts, whether it's mowing patterns, sand incorporation, things like that. One of the newer ways of thinking with the solid tine aerification, we haven't pulled a plug here in 15 years. And our organic matters are still exactly where we want them. So just stuff like that. I embrace technology, but I'm not a techno cat, meaning I don't spend the time to be on Twitter for 8 hours a day. I just don't have the time for that.
Hence your 2015 Lenovo that hasn't been updated in 5 years.
For sure. No, and to the guys that can do that and still see everything every day, good for them. Hats off for sure. But I feel like sometimes, at least myself, being spoken of here, I can lose track of what the target is if I'm out there on Twitter trying to snap the latest picture of 70 to fairway. So no, and a lot of times actually, when I really feel like I need to lock in and focus, I'll leave my phone right in the office. It's the best place for it at certain times. So, but no, as far as the technology things coming up, obviously the autonomous stuff is at the forefront. I think we'll let that marinate a little bit before we dive into that here at the club. But yeah, paying attention, whether it's the GS3 stuff from the USGA, I think that's super cool. That's something that I could see being a very valuable tool to explain things to people. And we all know members are experts with green speed, correct? So that's
They're so good at it. They know exactly what they're talking about too.
so that I will say the most accurate barometer of how the greens were that day is how said member played. It's strange.
Right.
When somebody's signing their scorecard for 75 and they're an 8 handicap, the greens were awesome. The 84 the next day from the same handicap is they were a little off today. They were a little bumpy, not so receptive. But jokes aside, we have great membership. But those comments always. So there is a ton of information, and I think we live in a generation and time where there's sometimes information overload. For example, here at Fort Wayne, we have 2 assistants. We have a seasonal crew of about 30 with part-time team members. I would love to have an individual that was basically dedicated to the GS3 and gathering information. We don't have that person here. There's other stuff that they need to be doing. So while I think that that's a super cool tool, I'm not too much of a gadget guy at this point. I just don't want to spend the time on it. Now, is there a time and place for that? Hell yeah, there is. And I think it's really cool technology. It's just not something that I have the staff to allocate to currently.
No.
I take the speed. I know where the speed is. I can get a pretty damn good idea of trueness and ball roll as well
Yeah.
with the old putter in the back of my cart. But
Tried and true method there. I love it.
You've
You
probably hit every
mentioned,
putt on that course too, haven't you?
yeah, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
You mentioned
That was my
autonomous. And Adam
yeah.
and I have had the conversation, in previous podcasts and whatnot. Just curious, how do you think the autonomous stuff is going to impact the labor force for the future?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I think it's going to have its place for sure. I also think that there's no replacement for human interaction. Yeah, I'm not there yet with it. I guess some of the autonomous ball pickers and things like that for the long range are fine. But the way that our team runs is we are very friendly with members in the sense of, a warm smile and a greeting when we see them. I want our guys away from everybody for the most part, right? But when you do have an interaction with a member group, make it a good memory for them that, hey, we met so and so from the agronomy team, and damn, that's a really nice young man. So image is important to me, and I think that there's no substitute for that as far as interaction. I don't know how that'll go long term. I think while there's some really, really smart people doing a lot of work on this stuff, much like anything, I think it'll be cost prohibitive for a number of years to come. Based on where you're at and the resources available to you, we're fortunate here to have a lot of really good resources and a healthy budget. But still, when you start to talk about some of these pieces that are going to be 150, 175, $200,000 plus the annual subscription fees, obviously that's speculation, but yeah, it's going to take a while for that to come down the pipeline. I'm just fine with what we have for now. A lot of our operators too are retired, so they work part-time. They work 3 or 4 days a week, 4 or 5 hours a day, and that's mainly what we're looking at. I think the focus, the autonomy really right now is mowers, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's a
would
big
say
part
so.
of it.
Yep. So
I did see
I'm not
that
there with
autonomous
that.
bunker rake recently too.
Oh,
That
yeah,
looked
geez.
interesting.
It's going
That
wild.
was super cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that as well. I visited that booth at the trade show.
I think the most confusing thing for people is that this industry for the last number of years is talking so much about how we need more people. We're trying to get people, Super Scratch Foundation is going to be giving how many different scholarships to kids to be able to go to school. Like we are really pushing to get more people in this industry, but then on the other side of things from the technology side, we're trying to take people's jobs away, and I don't think that's exactly what it is, but some of these people are saying that, they're taking our jobs, they're taking our jobs, whereas the other part of the industry is saying, well, we need more people to work. So at what point do we hit that boiling point where it's like, okay, we actually are taking people's jobs away? I don't know. And like you said, we're probably years away from dealing with something like this, but we are getting to that point eventually where it's like we have a lot of people that are interested in this, but what are they going to do? They can't spray because we have drones spraying. All the autonomous mowers are out there doing all the mowing. So what do you have all these people here to do? You probably only need a few more people or a few people to actually run your golf course at that point. So why are we pushing all these people into the industry? So I think that's just why it's just so confusing for people.
I think there'll always be a need for the expertise side, right? So some of the things that they're looking to eliminate aren't necessarily your agronomically based thinkers. Um, when you start talking about somebody to just be an equipment operator, but from my side, there's a lot to this stuff, right? I mean, we have 3 different individuals that mow rough, and mowing rough seems like such a thoughtless, just send anybody out to do it. No, there are 100 things to do all the time. You know, First of all, you're running a $125,000 piece of equipment that you damn well better be taken care of, right? But knowing where to be, when to be there, how to do it, the right patterns at the right times, staying away from play, staying in front of play, uh, paying attention to how the machine's running. There are a zillion different variables that are very difficult for a very competent human to factor in. I just don't. Yeah, I'm not there yet. I think there's too many factors. I love the fact that we always preach to the guys as they make their way around the golf course. Uh, you see something, say something. If you see something, pick it up. I mean, there's we don't have enough two-way radios for the whole team, obviously. So everybody's got my number, and they'll send me a text message. Hey, what's going on with this? Or is this will be a thing of the past too? But stuck sprinkler head on 7. Looks like this head's not rotating on 4. And so the team really works together as we sweep our way through the golf course to try and catch everything as we go. And I don't think that there's a replacement for that autonomously.
That's a very good
Maybe
point.
maybe eventually, but I think it's further away than what we think. I like to be a student of it, and I think it's prudent of us to pay attention to what's coming. But yeah, I see that way down the line, and I don't think there's any substitute for those human interactions and people that invest themselves into the end goal of what the team's trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And I agree with you 100%. I don't think there's any technology that can replace the expertise of an individual and all the things that you need to accomplish out there.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
going back to the OGs, I talked to there's an individual out of Chicago that I've known and respected for a really long time. He's getting ready to call it a career after this season, but he's had some experience with some of the autonomous stuff, and it's in its really early stages, and just wasn't that into it. Named off a host of things that came up, and like any new technology, right? We're gonna get all the positive and all the why this is awesome. You have to talk to people that have used this stuff to get the flip side, right? We're not going to sell our product by telling you what's wrong with it. So I think it's important to get the experience, good, bad, and indifferent, from people you trust,
Yeah.
and then make your own decision.
Yeah. And then ultimately too, it's going to evolve just like any technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to evolve. It, eventually will become potentially commonplace because, again, you get an autonomous fairway mower out there right now, and that frees up a guy to, maybe be keeping an eye on it, but then also hammer out some of the detail stuff that really needs to get done too. So I do think there's definitely a place for it, and, it'll be fun to watch how this evolves. But going down a different path, I really want to know how is your leadership similar to what you learned from your father, and how is it different?
I'm much more open form based, where I like the ideas of others, and I always make the end call. But the key players in our operation, and there's 3 or 4 of them, I want all of them to have a voice. I want to talk things through with them, and I want everybody to feel good about what direction we're going and why. And that might be a personality thing on my part. My dad was a ball buster, and he was a leader. And here's what we're doing. Don't ask. Let's go. But I think that's a product of who he came up under, right? So
Yep.
obviously, if you know Mr. Bader, industry legend, but tough guy. One way to do things, that's his. And if you look at where he's been, that was a pretty damn incredibly well way to do things. Clearly, he's been at a bunch of the best in the world, including the best in the world. But yeah, I think I'm more of an open forum. Let's talk about it and get everybody on board and thinking the same way. And my dad was more of a, this is what we're doing. Let's go. For sure, he was a driver, big time driver. I feel like we still accomplish a great deal of work all the time, but his ability to maximize people's efficiency is unparalleled. I mean, absolutely incredible. And I think part of that is being a dick. I'm just not wired the same.
But I've never seen that side of your dad. I can't wait to talk to him after this comes out.
Oh, it's there. Trust me. And he'll laugh and ask what you're talking about. Short memory.
Oh my gosh,
But
that's
he
so good.
pushed really, really hard, and I also know how to push the button when it's time. But I'm a little bit, I would say, a little bit more laid back at other times than he is as well.
And then assuming you're helping out with the younger generation too, some of the assistants coming up and kids coming up behind you.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So one thing I will say, if I'm going to give my dad a hard time, I must also compliment his work ethic and the way that he worked alongside the team forever. So as hard as he could be and as tough as he was always working alongside the guys. And he had his own stuff to do too, but never afraid to dig in and work right alongside everybody, no matter the task. So we're in a unique situation. Our senior assistant here, John Graff, has been with the club for about 30 years. He and I were high school kids together, then college kids together, and then assistants together. And so it's still that relationship is very much we work together. I'll never think of the lens as, John is in any position that reports to me or anything else. It's just not how we roll. We work together just like we always have. But it's unique in the fact that he is very, very good at what he does. He's a master of the irrigation system, has the chemical side of the business down pat. So John and I just work hand in hand. There is no teaching him. I mean, we still go to shows together. We still learn things together. We still, are always looking to evolve and do it better. But there's just not a whole lot of training that he needs. And I couldn't think of a whole lot of things that I would train him on anyway, other than maybe the business side and the member relationships. But yeah, the younger generation for sure. The guys coming up, you're happy to share information with. I mentioned earlier that our second assistant Ian's going to go over and work with Chad Mark's team for the week this summer. That's an important opportunity, and just keeping them. Again, we talked about networking earlier, getting to know their own network, right? So not only do I have the good fortune to know a bunch of guys around here and talk to a bunch of my dad's former assistants that are now in prominent positions around the state and the Midwest. Um, but you want those people to build those relationships too with their next generation. So one of the things Ian does, and he does it really well. Sycamore Hills is a top level facility just down the road from where we're at. John Thompson's the golf course superintendent there, one of my dad's former assistants and a good friend. And what Ian has done is he started to network with some of the other assistants around the area, and they just go back and forth playing golf. So not only do they talk shop, but then Ian may go over there and play on a Monday afternoon. Once we're done with a couple of John's assistants, then we'll host them the following week. Then they may go somewhere else the next week. So I think that's cool. That's learning to network, but also having a good time while doing it. But yeah, as far as teaching them, I think that's something that I feel like I want to improve at as I'm in the position longer. I still consider myself a new superintendent. I really do, even starting my 8th season. I think that's still well within the realm of new. It is to me.
Yeah.
But certainly something that you want to be known for, right? So if you look at the guys at a lot of these bigger clubs, and we don't have to name anybody, but there's certain places that are really, really good at promoting their guys, and their guys get jobs because the individual in that position makes it a priority to take care of his people down the road, right?
Absolutely. That I think guys take pride in that more than anything else, is just
For sure.
mentoring
And
and
that's
moving people along.
and that's the ultimate compliment, right? If you look at some of the individuals at the top 25 or top 50 facilities, that kids in school know that, hey, I want to go work for so and so because I know that that's a hell of a name on the resume, and they're going to teach me really well. And then when it's time, they'll help me get a position. So it's important. It's very important.
You mentioned Sycamore, and there's, plenty of others. I think Fort Wayne and just that region as a whole is probably an underrated golf area. Talk about the Fort Wayne community and its golf culture.
Yeah, kind of golf crazy, right? So
Yeah.
there's and obviously after 2020, golf is a whole different animal here, but It's great. There's a ton of great golf courses around here. We have a great network of superintendents. Our local association, the Hoosier Turfgrass Association, is a bunch of great people. So that's pretty neat. I think the HTA has done a good job through the organization throughout the years of really building a community. They do that well, and I hope that's something that we can continue as kind of the next generation for sure. As far as golf in Fort Wayne, couple of courses have closed over the past maybe 5 years. A few different properties that were developed into housing developments, but I would say, as much as it was unfortunate to see those go, I think it was perhaps a benefit for some of the other facilities that are now just absolutely bursting at the seams with play. So that's a cool thing. But yeah, the community in general, it's a small big town, right? So small city, second
Yeah.
largest city in Indiana, but still that Midwest mentality, friendly, kind people. It's a really, really good spot to be. If you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It'll change.
It's one of the most
But
electric hockey rinks I've ever played in too, the Fort Wayne Comets.
no doubt, right? So the Frankies have done an amazing job with that team forever. That it's funny because I think their average attendance is higher than the American Hockey League, which is one step below the show. So yeah, pretty crazy, right? But Fort Wayne loves their hockey for sure. Absolutely love it. And that is a neat environment. That's funny you remember that as a player.
Well, we talked about Sean Sidlowski, right? You guys had watched him play or something like that down
Yeah,
there.
so Sid is a Detroit guy originally.
Hmm.
He was here. He was the MVP of the ECHL one year while he was here. But one of the things I do, a good friend of mine, Ben Boudreau, was the coach of the Comets for 4 or 5 years. Won a
Benny.
cup with them after, yeah, Benny won a cup with them after COVID, throughout COVID actually. But he would always say, "Hey, I got a couple guys that are still around for the summer. Would you mind having the boys out?" So I would do a group or two a couple times a year, which was neat. Get to know some of those guys, and they were always super appreciative to get to come out to the club. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I played junior hockey with Sid and we spent a lot of time together, and it seems like he extended his career a couple extra years just to keep playing there because he had so much fun in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, I had no idea you guys played juniors together. That's awesome. But
Yeah, Erie Otters years ago, and then Ben Boudreau was the assistant coach in Norfolk when I was there. So we had a lot of fun together. He's a beauty.
yeah, wild. So Benny and I met by total random chance at a another buddy's birthday party. But I had come from work, so I'm wearing golf attire, and he thought I just got off the golf course, and I did, but in a different lens than what he was thinking of. So next thing you know, Carter and Cooper are friends. Then they're in hockey 1-2, hockey 3-4 together. So that was just a really, really funny way to meet somebody that ended up becoming a pretty good friend. So we still keep in touch. He's up in St. Catharines doing his thing now, but for sure, good friend for sure.
Right
That's
on.
awesome. Well, we're getting close to time here. We don't want to hold you too long, but we always like to close these episodes out by just kind of giving you the floor here, Brian. If there's anything you want to talk about.
We covered some pretty good ground there. I guess the one thing I would say, mentoring, being mentored, things like that we touched on that we didn't talk a whole lot about. I was very fortunate to be part of a huge renovation here in 2013. Um, we did a rough renovation, redid some tees, redid all 18 greens, well, 19 greens in the practice area, but that whole thing, getting to see the renovation as an assistant, was incredible. And we went with pure distinction. We were one of the first clubs anywhere to do that. I think Aaron McMaster up at Orchard Lake was the first the year before. Then us and Inverness went literally the same week. But pretty cool experience that I didn't touch on a whole lot. That was absolutely awesome. The project was super cool. So in that vein, and the learning vein, and the look at what's coming up, we do have a new irrigation system starting August 4th of this year.
Nice.
New main lines, new everything. So our main lines that we're running now are 1932. So they've got some miles on them, but
Jeez. Old cast iron.
ductile.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, it's a treat. Um, but no, the next one's signed, sealed, and delivered, and excited to have the folks from Leibold coming in to do that this coming August. But good stuff for sure. We'll have to circle back and do another one of these next year to talk about the experience there.
100%.
Absolutely.
It'll be fun. Well, Brian, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you setting aside an hour to chat with us, tell us your story. I think people are really going to get a kick out of this one and learn some stuff. And I thought you did a great job.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll work on the backdrop for next year. But
You got that one ceiling tile that looks like it's drooping a little bit. I don't know if it's holding something up there, but I've been
must just
keeping
be
an
the
eye on
angle,
it.
right?
Yeah.
No,
No, I'm
I'll-
just messing
I'll
with
work-
you, man.
I'll work
The biggest
on a
thing is
proper
your
setup.
audio, right? You said a lot of great things and had a lot of great messages and stories and stuff. So it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah,
Cool. I look
absolutely.
forward to it. Thank you guys
Yeah.
so much for having me. One thing we'll touch on briefly, Adam, I don't know how much you know or don't know, but the practice rounds before the GCSA golf tournament, our group is ever expanding. I think we're up to 4 father-son combos, including one of our hosts here, Brian, and his dad, Terry. So, Adam, I think you probably should tee it up with us next year.
Some point,
Absolutely.
yeah, that'd be a lot of fun if you guys got room for me.
Yeah, live podcast from the 19th hole.
It'd be fun. That'd be
Could
fun.
be dangerous, Brian. That could be
yeah.
very
Should do it
dangerous.
from the first hole before we do it.
It'd be all good, right?
I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, thanks for putting that together again, Brian. That was so much fun. Really
No.
enjoyed that time.
And again, we talk about the business and how it's been so good for so many of us, but it's the people that
Yeah,
is what
Absolutely.
it goes back to. This is a bunch of really good guys and gals. So everything I got to do with my dad, I make sure my kids do with me now. So the 8-year-old and the 3-year-old, they're 2 crazy little blonde boys. Luckily, they look like their mom. That'll go well for them. But all the experiences that I got to have with them, they now do with me, and it really is just special stuff for sure.
Yeah. There's nothing better, man.
If you
Just
can pull the
changes
8-year-old
everything.
out of the hockey rink. Speaking of that, Adam, he's on the ice 5 or 6 nights a week.
That's awesome. That's so crazy. And you know what was funny? We talked about getting that picture signed by Brady. Me and my
Yeah.
son went to a meet the team event last weekend, and he only wanted to meet Brady, and Brady was at the Olympics. So I was texting Brian. I'm like, who has an event to meet the players and all the best players aren't there? Like,
Yeah, for sure. Side note, you still stinging from that Sunday morning loss?
yeah, definitely. And I've been having to look at this American flag the whole podcast. So it's been
That's why I got all dolled up, man. I had my overalls. These were getting
Brian,
a
you
little
wanna-
uncomfortable.
Brian, do you want to go halvesies and send him an authentic Hellebuck jersey?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, if they even make them. I heard
100%.
Nike didn't make any gear because they heard Canada was going to win, or they thought Canada was going to win, so they didn't make
Yeah,
any
I know.
stuff.
I
Like,
read
what
that
is
too.
that?
How bad is that? So now
Mad
the funny
rush.
thing is, these guys have been on the celebration tour, and they all have to go back and play for Canadian clubs, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Brady's got to go back to Ottawa. Connor Hellebuck's going back to Winnipeg. Yeah, the irony of it all.
Yeah. it's a tough one. I know they were saying McDavid goes from playing with Celebrini and McKinnon back to dealing with everything he's got going on in Edmonton. Like, it's a tough one.
Well, as Matthew said, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah.
He will be. He's the best player in the world. Things will
Oh,
come his way
He stood
Oh,
out
yeah.
even in this best on best. He was still the best player, like by far. So
by a lot. And
No.
I'll defer to you because you're the pro here. Is there any other person in the league that skates faster with the puck than without?
no, he's so dangerous. Like, he is so dangerous. I'd be freaking out if he was on the ice.
Wild.
Mhm.
Absolutely wild. He's a treat to watch.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Good. Well, thank you guys. I won't delay any further, but I'll make sure I send you some info and maybe work on that drooping ceiling tile. I don't know. The artificial wood paneling in the background is pretty kick-ass, though.
It's nice.
Hell
It's
yeah.
nice. It pops.
Feels
Yep.
homey. Feels homey.
Yeah.
You know, this time of year, especially, yeah, it adds some warmth to things, right?
I still 8 years in. I can't change the office yet. It's still my dad's office.
Yeah.
We'll do some renovations.
Yeah, I love it. Good winter project for next year.
Yep, you got it.
Sweet. All right, buddy. Well, thanks again. Appreciate your time, and I'll make a point to get over there sometime this summer.
Hey, sounds good. Bring Adam with you. It's not a far flight.
That'd be
Love
fun. That'd be fun.
All right,
it.
see you guys.
Take care,
Thanks.
Brian.
All
Thank
right.
you.
See you, Brian. Take care,
Bye.
man.
What a treat.
Another good episode.
Yeah, such a great guy, and a little nervous to start to show off, but I thought he turned it around, did a great job. A lot of great things
Oh
to
yeah.
say.
I thought that was a fantastic interview. Had a lot of great insight, great stories from growing up around the industry. And, he and I obviously have some very similar paths, and just the connections and relationships that, we've been able to develop over the years coming up, just riding the coattails of your father, and just, how they all kind of play into your career as you kind of fall into your own. It's just, there's nothing better. And, he's great friends with all the same people that his dad's been friends with for many, many years. And that whole Fort Wayne group, like they are so tight, and a lot of guys that have been at clubs for a very, very long time, which is kind of unusual in the industry. But, they've just done a really good job of supporting one another, and really cool to see.
We definitely see some bouncing around in the industry, but I think it's very special when somebody spends a long time at a property like that. It's like an athlete getting drafted to a team and playing for that team for their whole career, most of their career. Like I find that's very special, and you end up being very connected and leaving a bit of a legacy. And I don't know, I love those stories. There
Yeah.
certainly could be a lot more that goes on, but he has that connection, and it seemed like it all worked out at the right time. And even the relationship he has with his assistants, like you go to work
Yeah.
every day and must just enjoy your life. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's got a really good culture there. And like you talked about, the membership's fantastic. And the fact that his members, and I've seen it firsthand, I've gone over there. It's been quite a while, but I've been over there and played with them, and been able to witness, firsthand, just the respect that the members have for, Brian's father, who is also Brian, um, the respect they have for that team, and that they encourage them to be a part of their community there at the club is, it's just really, really neat to see. It's the Fort Wayne way. Fort Fun. I like to call Fort Wayne Fun.
That's
Fort
good.
Fun. All sorts of stuff going on over there.
Yeah. So I got a couple of things written down for you here. A few equipment managers have reached out recently asking for nominations. I guess the Edwin Budding Award
Yeah.
nominations are out right now, so that's on the GCSAA website. You do have to be a member because you have to be able to sign into the website. So you do have to be a member to be able to nominate somebody. But there have been a few equipment managers that have reached out and asked for our support, and we certainly support everybody that's going after it this year. I know Tyler Maget was a recent guest of ours, and he's putting his name in for kind of the first year. So good luck to Tyler and everybody else that's going after it this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing was, I've had this written down for weeks. This was actually in before the show. Somebody wrote us a question, wanted to know both of our answers for if you could go and work at a golf course in any state in the US, what would it be? And then in any other country other than the US, what would it be? So I guess they're not asking specific courses, it's just more or less where you'd want to work.
Oh boy.
And you
Well,
travel
how
a lot, so that's a tough one for
for
you.
for you though, I mean, that's you does that question have to go to you with which one in Canada would you want to be? And then internationally,
Uh,
like what other
no,
country?
I like the state one. Like
All right.
Canada's,
All right.
we have some great golf courses and stuff, but it's I think that the real
That's some
golf
beauty.
courses are in the States, right? Like there's a lot of golf courses in the United States. Uh, I don't know. I can answer it both ways. I'm from Alberta and haven't spent a lot of time. There's the Banff Springs and the resort and stuff out there. I think that'd be a
Oh yeah.
beautiful place to live and to work. So
Yeah.
that would be my answer for that. The States, I mean, the easy answer is California, just for the weather. But my favorite state traveling through all the years, maybe just because I'm Canadian, was Colorado. I loved
Mm,
Colorado,
yeah.
just the vibe there. Go up the mountain, go skiing, and then come down and play some golf, and then go to the hockey game at night. Like that was kind of my vibe. So that might be my answer for in the States, which is kind of funny because Alberta
Yeah.
and Colorado follow the Rocky Mountains, right? So the same kind of area. Worldwide, I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a tough one. I think it'd be cool to go visit a place like Australia and get to work on a golf course for a little while and just see kind of the differences and all the stuff that goes on. But I don't know. I think my answer would be the States.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
defer to that one and say the US.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. We were literally just talking about some of the challenges in Colorado. Like specifically in the Denver area, we were talking about a couple guys. We were literally talking about this yesterday. How they have their summer main irrigation system and then their winter irrigation system, because the climate there is just so unpredictable and up and down. 300 plus days of sunshine or whatever, it's fantastic, but then you'll get a ton of snow, it'll get cold for a day or two, and then it's back. And it's just, so they've got, talking about a couple different courses where they've got their summer primary irrigation system and then their winter irrigation where it's down a little further, so less chance of it freezing over and all that kind of stuff. Like that would be just a nightmare to
be some
manage.
Challenges there.
Two systems.
Got the tarps out, just waiting.
Oh, dude, yeah, it'd be a challenge. Every climate's got its challenges, but yeah, man. I mean, California is just spectacular. It's truly hard, almost impossible to pick one state. I mean, I've been very fortunate to see a lot of really cool places, and each place is just so unique. I mean, California, Oregon, Washington, I mean, the West Coast is beautiful. Arizona is beautiful. There's just so many beautiful places. That one's hard. Internationally, I would love to go to New Zealand. Like that's, obviously I want to go to the UK. I've got other, personal reasons. I want to go visit my brother over there and see all the historic venues of Scotland and all that. But New Zealand for me, like I was talking to Brian Palmer, who used to be out at Terry. That place just looks phenomenal. He's obviously moved back to the States, but it just looks so beautiful. I've heard nothing but amazing things about the people of New Zealand.
It's a safer Australia, right? They don't have the snakes and the crocodiles and all the stuff. The
they don't have as much stuff that wants to kill you over there. Yeah, exactly.
The spider's the same size as your hand.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, that'd be my go-to internationally for sure.
I don't know if I've seen a better sunrise picture on a golf course than Terry. And it seems like they have one every week. Like,
yeah.
It's insane.
I've got a buddy that's a member over there, so I gotta weasel my way into an invite.
You should, yeah. And we know some of the crew there. We've posted a bunch of pictures for some of them, and they love us and love sending us stuff. Nice. And they always say, "Come visit us." And it's like, I don't know if I'm going to jump
Turf today live from New Zealand. I'm in. Let's do it.
Cool.
Let's do it.
It'd be pretty cool.
Can we get a sponsor? You think we can get a sponsor for that trip?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's awesome.
The only last thing I was going to mention here was we were talking about autonomous. It's we don't really have the opinions that Brian and I haven't worked at a golf course that has these things. We work a lot with Toro and seen a lot of the research and stuff they've done and think it's incredible. I'll tell you right now, as soon as I can afford to have one on my lawn, I'm never cutting my own grass again. Like that thing is going to work for me forever. So I can't sit here and say I'm totally against them, and I can't sit here and say that I full on love the idea of it. It's still so new, and it's still such a thing that we're sort of testing with our industry. So, all love to everything that Toro's doing with it and all the other companies there, because at the end of the day, they're pushing the industry forward.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be huge for the industry. I mean, something like autonomous fairway mowers, again, like Brian said earlier in our interview, you can't replace that personal touch, but I think the ability to, when they're fine tuned and it sounds like, they're really on track to do, they've got them dialed in pretty well, but just the ability to set those loose and then free up a person to go do other things. I mean, I think that's a game changer, an absolute game changer. So
definitely. We had a course here in our area that did the, it wasn't the Toro ones. It was another common mower that you would see, the smaller ones. And I think about 5 of them, and they used them, in the rough and on tees and around greens and things like that. So they had them going all over the golf course. The superintendent said that it worked really well. It saved him a bunch of money. And then, yeah, instead of my guys out spending the whole morning cutting and, almost getting hit by golf balls and things like that, he's like, those
Yeah.
things just run around, do what they want. And now we can go and do projects and we can work
Yeah.
on the things we want to work on and have these guys' brains and bodies really working and doing what we want. So
Yeah.
from that side of things, it really does make sense. So hopefully
yeah.
it's all going in
Yeah.
that right direction.
I've seen so many of them just in, common grounds areas around the clubhouse and, those types of things,
That
free
too.
and
Yeah.
free up a person that is normally, out just doing, again, clubhouse grounds or parking lots or whatever it may be, like just getting a robot out there to knock some of that stuff out, whatever time they're set up to mow and all that. I mean, just game changer. Yeah. So
Be good.
all right, man. Well,
right, buddy.
I will catch you soon.
Sounds good. I am going to the brewery right now. All the boys are heading over there for 1:00. So
Love it.
boy.
Enjoy.
All right. Have a
Enjoy.
good one.
All right, dude. See ya.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in this week. This was a lot of fun. Really appreciate Brian Chalifoux for coming on and chatting about everything he's got going on. Great story, great man. Reach out to him if you'd like to connect with him. We got another great one next week. Can't wait for it. Please do us a favor. Send this show around. Give us a rating and give us a review if you can. All those things always help the show, so we really appreciate it. Huge shout out to all of our sponsors that keep the show moving and to everybody out there that loves this show. Keep sending in your messages. Keep doing what you can to help. We love you all. Keep those reels sharp.